We have 8 panelists for you today, all ENAT members who will be presenting their ENAT projects, their own projects, and showing the diversity of activities that goes on amongst our ENAT members. We are now just presenting the first slide, which is on my little introduction. I'm the managing director of ENAT, which is a non-profit organization based in Brussels. We're here as part of the Zero Project conference. This is a partner webinar in which Zero Project has invited its partners to have a session as part of the secondary program, you might say. There are about 200 people meeting in Vienna who have braved the COVID-19 pandemic, and they are sitting socially distanced on their chairs with their own names on them, where they have to sit. They're not allowed to move around in the room. They are taking part in the main program. And tomorrow we'll also have a session in the main program, the Accessible Tourism Summit, where people will will present. These are the awardees, will present their projects, those projects that have been awarded by Zero Project for their outstanding innovation. So we'll be talking accessible tourism today and tomorrow in this session. And the session today is, as I say, dedicated to just very few of the ENAT members who are running projects here in Europe. I can see from my overview of the participants here, we've got just 9 attendees at the moment. It's very nice of you to join us. Thank you for coming in at this time. There's a lot of tension around today with the problems in Ukraine. I'm sure people are obviously worried about this and probably a bit distracted as well, but we press on with our subject. So I'm going to invite the speakers. I'll just give you a rundown of the speakers here on the main slide. First, we'll be hearing from our president, Grazia Laura, and she will be talking us through the subject of engaging with the world community on accessible tourism. We have Marco Pizzio after this, another board member of ENAT, talking about access training, a universal requirement for managers and staff. We then go to Norway, where one of our newer members, Martin Lobert at Accessible Tromsø, will talk about his company offering accessible Arctic adventures. Following that, Sonia García-Fraile will talk about the accessible way of St. James. She's from Fundación in Spain, also a board member of ENAT. And another board member, Miguel Carrasco from PREDIF in Spain, will tell us about the Tour for All Accessibility Information Scheme and the work that's gone into that, and all the things that are coming from this accessibility information scheme. Ana Garcia from Accessible Portugal, another ENAT board member, will talk about this joined up approach for accessible tourism services, focusing on the central Portugal region. And finally, we'll have a newer member, Selvakumar Ramachandran from Kerckhoffs in UK, who will be talking about virtual reality 360 video, which can be used as a way of supplementing tourism through virtual means. So that's our program for today. And I'd like to hand over now to Grazia Laura. I'll stop sharing the screen and Grazia will join us with her presentation. Thank you, Grazia.
Okay, thank you. Can you see on my screen full screen, my presentation?
Perfect.
Okay, thank you, and thank you, Ivor. And I also want to extend my thanks to the Zero Project conference that's given us this opportunity to present a lot of different projects that are all aiming at, let's say, supporting accessible to all. A few words about who we are. And we've been, let's say, we've been creating at the end of an European funded project in 2008, and we are funded, we are based in Brussels as a non-profit association, and we are a multi-stakeholder network. We have different kind of stakeholders, associations, NGOs, public bodies, and destinations. Now, at present, we have more than 250 members in 50 countries worldwide. It means that our name, European Network, which was necessary when we were funded by the European Commission, is now becoming more and more worldwide recognized and accepted. What is our goals? To make European tourist destinations, products and services accessible to all travelers, and to promote accessible tourism around the world. And this is also in the frame of promoting accessible tourism that in 2021, we officially signed a memorandum of understanding with Zero Project to bring greater attention to policies and practices that can serve visitors with disabilities and other travelers with specific access requirement to make their life more comfortable when they decide to travel. Let us just remember as universally designed tourism for all. What is accessible tourism? And it's to make environments, venues, and services suitable for the widest range of customers, including seniors, who are important, as we've seen, families with more children, people with disabilities, people with long-term health conditions, and many, many more. And all these people should be assured that they have equal opportunity to enjoy tourist experiences in full inclusion, in comfort, safety, and sustainability. Tourism is, let's say, guided and modified by a lot of mega trends that are transforming the way we enjoy tourism. And this is absolutely important. Also, there's a lot of implications for the tourism sector in general and for accessible tourism in particular. And I'm talking about the demographic changes, emerging markets, sustainability, travel mobility, and new technology. While demographic change is mainly represented by the aging population in the world. In the 50, more than 40% of the European population will be over 50. I don't think the person was a senior, but in any case, we are going towards a more, let's say, advanced population in age. And infrastructure and services need to be tailored to accommodate that kind of demand, as well as the millennials and the new generations. They have a complete different vision on how to make tourism and how to enjoy tourism. But in any case, accessibility, both physical access and information provisions, is likely to be an area of particular interest for them. Now we have the first pay attention, and the pay attention is the post-COVID situation. Aging population, seniors are still the population with more economic possibilities and time to travel. But they are not completely going back to traveling because they have the fear, and they fear the pandemic risks that are still present around the world. While the millennials, they are ready to travel, they are ready to follow health instructions, but they might have, since the work possibilities has been reduced by the COVID, by the pandemic, they have a diminished purchasing power. Now, the other point, which is very important for the development of tourism and accessible tourism, is the impact of new technologies on tourist consumption. We have two different ways of being influenced by new technologies. Social media review web reputation, these are considered a very valuable communication tool between tourists on a peer-to-peer situation. For destination, tourists themselves become testimonial of what they have enjoyed, and they share with others their impression and their bad or good experiences, determining the reputation of destination companies. And then virtual and augmented reality, which might help, particularly in the case of people with access station, to have the possibility to enjoy destinations in a more or less similar way to being there. The development of slow tourism, to be able to understand that tourism is not 2 days here and 2 days there, but people are looking for more authenticity, to discover the less known places, and more important, to relate with local communities. And we will see how this will, let's say, influence the future of tourism. Slow tourism is quite well linked with accessible tourism, because accessible tourism very often requires enough time to explore and to move at a lower pace and with more attention to cultural details. Sustainability. Sustainability is important in any area to maintain the cultural heritage and the sustainable tourism, let's say, provide a sustainable society to welcome all type of different type of tourism, to sustain economy in order not to destroy our resources, but to maintain them and put them to fruit. And environment, again, the environment is the basis to make people with disabilities and every one of us enjoy the destinations as much as possible. But unfortunately, tourism has been badly hit, and it's very hard to foresee a strong recovery, maybe in this year or finally in 2023. And so there are a lot of new challenges for accessible tourism. The economic crisis due to the pandemic has reduced the available income, as we have seen. New travel behaviors of tourists with specific access requirements, and as a whole, all tourists, but particularly tourists with disabilities, are afraid of a touristic assistance which is not fully adequate to their needs. There have been a lot of, let's say, initiatives to help the operators to be ready to the reopening of tourism, and particularly UNWTO, with the support of our organization and ONCE Foundation, has issued a guideline to reopen the tourism without imposing unnecessary obstacles, to make a correct travel planning, to be aware of the needs in transportation and accommodation, and every kind of service in the service tourist chain that would provide assistance and service to the customers. Another important tool that is available for tourist services and the tourist community is the fact that the ISO on tourism and related services has been published last year, and that there is another technical committee now working on accessibility of immovable cultural heritage. This is ongoing, and in both initiatives, ENAT has been the liaison officer in order to make every aspect of these standards very well in tune with the needs of the final users. Now let's just have a quick look at what is going to happen in the future, new models of inclusion and development. And we talked about sustainability, which is important. But we should also try to go beyond sustainability. It's not possible to sustain an economic model based on continuously increased production. And it's not possible to compensate for the pollution provided by the development model we live in. if this is the situation, we have to talk at future tourism as a regenerative tourism. Tourist destination, local communities, tour operators are all part of the same ecosystem. And if we maintain our ego, we try to operate by ourselves, we just might have a development of survival. While if we shift the focus to the growing number of tourism to create thriving destination and communities, allowing both of them to say what kind of tourism they want, then we may be more aimed at prosperity. And the source of all these concepts comes from an apologue of conscious travel. The regenerative tourist destination has the task of bringing together tour operators and communities to build the offers together. And this is absolutely important. A thriving tourist destination is a place where guests and community can give more to each other, generating more well-being from the economical, environmental, and social point of view. And more than that, a community that chooses its own way of welcoming will be more open, inclusive, and accessible. So what is the possibility? How to proceed? Develop national and regional policies and action plans in cooperation with tourism actors and all stakeholders that are involved in the tourism sector. Engage with international networks. Improve skills. There will be someone will be talking about training in particular, but training and education is very, very important if we want to improve our offer. Improving the offer also in terms of infrastructure activity and improve communication and information. Accessibility from start to finish so that we can ensure inclusive experiences for all and leave no one behind. Thank you for your attention, and I'm ready to take questions if there are.
Yes, thanks, Anna Grazia. For questions and answers, you may the audience may put messages in the chat. We have no questions at the moment. You can also use the Q&A button to put questions there. So we will. I think we'll come back to many of these points, Anna Grazia, in the roundup at the end. But thank you for showing with your vision here and highlighting some of the critical issues that we have to deal with. The basic message, I think, remains that we still have a long way to go, and accessible tourism is by no means finished or done anywhere in the world. We have to keep on working, passing our message to the community that we call the mainstream of tourism, because let's face it, we say accessibility in tourism is not a niche issue, but it is still an underrepresented issue in tourism. And that's why we see it so important to keep working through our international network to advance accessibility for all in tourism. So we'll go to the next speaker now, which is Marco Pizzio, and he's from Italy. He's from the Italian Association for Multiple Sclerosis, where he's the marketing manager, and he's a project manager of a very interesting project that we're working with now with ENAT as well on InTour. So Marco, please, if you could share your presentation with us. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, of course. I hope you can see it. Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Ivor. Again, I'm Marco Pizzio, and I represent the Italian Multiple Sclerosis Association in Italy Society. Then we are an organization of people with disabilities. Today, I'm going to talk about access training, a universal requirement for managers and staff. Well, now would be very important to understand why it is actually important to improve in accessibility. There are three main reasons. The first one is gaining market share. there is a huge population in need of accessibility. For example, in Europe, different numbers can say there is about 150 million people with access needs, shared in a portion of 65% elderly people and 35% of people with disabilities. Considering also that this 65%, as Anna Grazia was saying before, will get in older sooner, reaching, for example, in Europe, 1/4 of the population in 2040, meaning that in 2040, 25% of the population in Europe will be over 65 years old. There are some other examples, like in Italy, will be 1/3. I mean, out of 3 of people will be over 65 in 2040. Then this just to underscore how important will be accessibility in order to gain this market, in order to make accessibility a real good business opportunity for everyone, for the businesses that they are operating, for the shops, for the hotels, etc. Another important reason why we should all improve accessibility is the quality. I mean, once you take care of accessibility in the way we describe in many activities, even with presentation of Anna Grazia before, then you gave to your business, to your activity, an improvement for all clients, not only with access needs. For example, if you provide a bigger bathroom, if you provide a bigger room in the hotel, or if the transportation from airport to the city center will be more efficient, more accessible, then everyone will take advantage out of that. So becoming accessible means improving the quality of your structure, with your property, of your service in general. And then, of course, there is also the legal and moral obligation. In many countries, there is the legal obligation in order to make your property accessible. Let's talk about the hotels in particular, but not only the hotels, even the transportation. So it's not only a way of welcoming people with disabilities, but it's also mandatory by law. And then, of course, there is also the moral obligation, meaning if we all need, even today, news is not very reassuring on this way, but in any case, inclusion is fundamental. And then becoming accessible means including everyone. So each activity, each business, each services that is creating services toward this goal will make something better for everyone in general. Then, what will be needed in order to create better accessibility? I mean, what should be included in any training courses or information that should be given? Mainly 3 family of information. The first one is the difference between disabilities. Each person is different. Each disability is different. It's totally different to approach a blind person, or a person in a wheelchair, or a person with some kind of allergy, or the family with the kids. The approach is totally different. It will be very important for everyone, for every expert, for every manager taking care of its own business and wanted to welcome people with disability, to really understand, to well understand the differences. Otherwise, it can create confusion. Keeping in mind then each client has specific needs. And then a second point that will be very important to learn will be the knowledge on specific access needs. I mean, knowing exactly what is going on in your property, in your business, in your services. Know exactly what is accessible and what is not. And then if you discover that in your activity, in your business, there is something which is not accessible, work on it. First of all, take care of making it accessible, if possible, immediately. If not, create a plan. So it will be very important to understand for each business what is your standard of accessibility. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to communicate to the clients, to welcome people with disabilities or elderly people. And then the third point will be meeting customer needs, meaning know well your clients, not only put general information. It will be very important to understand every time they talk to you, every time they call you by phone, every time they write you an email, to understand and really understand deeply what is a specific need, even, and this is why it would be very important to train the people, to train the frontline staff, making question to the clients, really understanding what is your individual personal need. Again, there is person at the center, then each person is different and each need is different. It would be fundamental to really understand which is the difference and to get in touch with your clients, fully understanding what is the best need, the total need of this client. Then, how to make a business accessible? Well, the very first step is to train manager and staff. How we can do it? We can do it in a few ways, in several ways actually. The main activities in the market are like webinars, like the one we're doing today, workshops, of course, individual training, and VET training, when VET is vocational educational training. Then now I present what we are doing with the INTOUR project, as I was saying before. INTOUR stands for Inclusive Tourism Profession. It's a European project in the program in Erasmus Plus in Erasmus Plus program, including 14 European partners. Of course, there is AISM, which is the coordinator, and also ENAT is partner of this project. And the partners are from 6 European countries. The objective of this project would be to cover the gap in the European training system and to offer quality education and training. And then it's also important to define the competences that inclusive tourism profession should have in tourism market. In order to reach this objective, we are working on creating 2 occupational profiles. In particular, we are working on the inclusive tourism manager and into the inclusive frontline staff. So we will develop 2 occupational profiles to be promoted at European level for supporting in general vocational and educational training in the field of tourism. How we do it? Well, the best way, of course, we are creating the content within university, since there are 3 universities involved in this project. There is university in Italy, Greece, and Germany. And the best way of doing that is creating pilot courses, meaning real courses with students and professors describing after the creation of the content, sharing all the information and accumulating in these years. There are again 3 universities involved. Well, the first one is the University of Genoa, where we are going to create a master, a first level master, of course at university level, with the 1,500 hours. So it will be a very important reach. It will be like in Italy, practically the first kind of master for accessible tourism in this field. Then in Germany, with FHD, we are going to create 2 courses for frontline staff and manager. This will be with 500 hours each, and very similar in HOU University, HOU University in Greece, an online university, where we are also going to create 2 courses, again for frontline staff and manager. Again, 500 hours each. What we are going to do? By these pilots, we are going to create a team of experts, let's say around between 50 and 80 people at least, able to spread the word about accessibility with a full knowledge of what accessible tourism is, with the skills and competences, able to spread the concept of accessible tourism as managers within the companies, as of course employees into hotels or any kind of activities, or even as a consultant. Another important result that we are going to achieve within this project is the flexibility and modularity of the curriculum, meaning a model which could be replicated not only at the very same university we are working with, but also in general in Europe. So we are going to create a contest, we are going to create the knowledge, the skill, and the information that could make in the future a new generation of the expert in the field of accessible tourism, allowing everyone to really welcome people with access needs, and therefore creating a real, more inclusive society in the short future. thank you very much for your interest. I'll be available for any question, or if you like, you can also send me emails to the address you can see here. Thank you very much. And
thank you, Marco. Perfect. It's a very big challenge with this project because we've seen literally hundreds of projects throughout Europe in the past, let's say 10 to 15 years, where training has also been addressed. But I don't think in this way, where we've tried to integrate so much of the knowledge and the resources that we've already developed and to put these into a system that can be used by everyone at university and higher level in education. It's something that's really missing from our educational and vocational training systems. So thanks for that. We have to press on because we are already running a little bit late. I will invite Martin, if you could share your screen now. Martin, if you can stop sharing, Marco, and let Martin Lobert come in from Accessible Tromsø, the tourist organization that he's set up in the far north of Norway.
Hello, everybody. I'm ready, but Marco, I need you to stop sharing your screen.
Close your sharing, please. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I was trying to do it. Okay. Can you make it, Ivor? I think I cannot stop it.
There.
Okay. Sorry. Okay.
Is that good? Great. So, hi again,
go ahead,
everybody. Thanks a lot to Zero Project and to ENAT for this opportunity to present my project. My name is Martin Lobert. I'm founder and managing director of Tromsø Accessible Tours, which is a company established in Tromsø in the northern Norway in the Arctic region. When I saw that accessible tourism, this is a very big destination for Northern Lights and everything that is northern Norway, which is reindeer, dog sledding and snow. And situation was not accessible for everybody. And I thought this was something that needed to be done. I'll have 9 slides in my presentation, including this one of the index. And I want to start with a summary of what Tromsø Accessible Tour wishes to be with a photograph. And for those who cannot see the photograph, and I'll explain for everybody else to also understand the details. We wish to be a company that is accessible, gives accessible tourism for everybody, also people with disabilities, of course, but it's also in the spirit of nothing for us without us. We wish to have people with disabilities working in the company. So in this case, this photo is from a city tour done in Tromsø, where the main guide is the girl standing in the center with the orange jacket. And if you notice, she has a white cane because she is legally blind. And she was the guide of the city tour. I am the person standing next to her, also in the orange jacket. And I was being her guide in the city to navigate the city, but she was the city tour guide. And you can see how there's also a person in a manual wheelchair. There's a girl in a power wheelchair with her assistant next to her. And behind me, there is a little guide dog because there was another blind person following as a guest, which I have no idea why she left the dog behind, a store probably. And this is what encompasses the whole spirit of the company. Tours for everybody, by everybody. So trying to give a general idea of the company, our clients are divided in 3 main groups, I would say. Direct customers, which is any customer that finds us online or in our different websites we are partnering with, that may have a comfortable trip that is accessible for them. This doesn't mean people with disabilities, but of course includes all people with disabilities, but also anybody else that might not want to go on a city tour running, for example. Then all international accessible travel agencies, we are partnering up with the main key players in the global market, and also trying to contact other inbound agencies that might we could collaborate with in knowledge. And of course, we will work with all the local tour operators, because the company is not going to be offering every service. Our idea, I'll go at this in the next slide, I think. So part of our services is tours we do ourselves, which is first to plan a fully itinerary for the whole stay in the city when they visit, from the time they arrive in the airport, all the transportation, hotel, activities, that everything is accessible to each person's level of accessibility. And some of these activities we do ourselves, like city tours or Aurora tours, which are the most common in Tromsø. And there's two photos here that you can see. The one on the right is a Northern Light trip run by us directly, where you can see that a woman is sitting on a scooter because she has reduced mobility, and her husband is just a few meters behind enjoying the Northern Lights. And on the other side, there's two guests we had with two power wheelchairs, and they wanted to visit this place, which are the ice domes. And excuse me, the transportation was not accessible, so we arranged all the transportation to get them there. And we also had to work around the loose snow that was still there on the premises. An important thing we did was acquired a minibus, which has a ramp in the back to make it accessible, because no other company, tourist company in Tromsø, are giving accessible transportation or transfers. Most people would depend on taxis, which are not tourist oriented as taxis are. So we dispose ourselves and hire transportation, get the licenses and the vehicle. And then, as I was mentioning before, we work with partners locally in Tromsø. Like there are companies that do husky dog sledding, or the Sami and reindeer experiences, and cross-country skiing, which will be adapted for everybody, and electrical bike tours in summers. And I wanted to show this in these photos, where in the photo in the left, you can see the whole family, where the father is in a mobility scooter, and the wife and the son are there enjoying feeding the reindeers with one of our partners here. And then on the right, you see a woman, again, with reduced mobility on her mobility scooter among the dog kennels of the dog sled center. And I made a little zoom to the front wheel of this woman's mobility scooter, because part of the solutions we also give is help them move on the snow, which is the hardest part here in the Arctic. And we have this little device, which is a little ski called wheel blade that you can put on the front of the wheelchair, which we spent a lot of time researching to find all these devices. And surprisingly, many people, even here in Norway, don't know about them, and they live in the snow. So I was quite surprised about that. So what we going with what actually was connected with what Marco was saying, it's important to assess the accessibility of all the places. All the tours that are run directly by Tromsø Accessible Tours are, of course, very well designed, universally designed per se, from the start to be accessible. But when we go with partners, we don't know this. So the first thing we do with all the partners is to assess the level of accessibility, test it, and advise on improvements that may come, the advices from us or from our guests that tell us, and then we will pass it on to our partners. Then raising with all these partners awareness that accessibility is not just a favor we do for a tourist, it's a right they have as a customers. to go everywhere the same way everybody can. And of course, we are aware, I'm very aware that by teaching other companies how to be accessible, I'm creating my own competition. But Tromsø Accessible Tour is founded as a social enterprise, which is not just a business, but also with a social objective. So in the world of social business, competition is always welcome, because the more of us here doing this work, the better it is for everybody in the world. And also for us, as Marco also pointed out, or Ana Grazia, one of you. Then next, I want to talk about how we communicate. Of course, in this world of social media and internet, everything is about social media. So we do have an Instagram and a Facebook channel, and we've made it clear to make it accessible as possible. So our images there, the photographs or text or plaques, are always with the easy to read fonts, good contrast. We make sure that the alternative text for all the images are done by ourselves, and all the description on a simplified language structures. Make sure everybody can comprehend everything we want to say. And also the website, we made it from scratch, universally designed, fully compliant with the latest WCAG directives. It was tested by a software engineer with visual impairments, and it's done on easy read or simplified writing. And we kept, although tourism is a visual concept for all people that can see, we kept the photographs on a minimum, because that makes it easier for blind people to access the website as well. And also our brochures and the business cards are made accessible by printing them with a QR code that is easy to find, and all in Braille. Because giving a visit card for a blind person usually is worthless, but in this case, most of them, or at least some, can read them. And then this is just a very big summary of what we're doing, and I would point out I would say the first and second points on the right, which our uniqueness has become that in Norway there is no other agency working on accessible tourism, and I thought we're going to be the only one in Tromsø, but ended up being the only one in Norway. And part of our work of networking and connecting has taken us to be part of the Access Tour project, which is a research project in Norway about accessible tourism, which ENAT is also a partner of, and with this to make this wider in all of Norway. And that is my presentation. Thank you very much. I'm guessing I'll be open for questions later on.
Yes, thank you, Martin. That's a brilliant presentation. And I think you've shown us the importance of working together with people, both the consumers and the other businesses in your locality, to offer a holistic, accessible experience for everyone. It takes a lot of work to get all these relations tied together and make things work. As you say, you may be also producing a little more competition, but I think the main thing that comes across is that you have a genuine belief that this is going to work for your company and maybe even for the whole of Norway. It just needs a big push from many sides. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on again. So thank you. You closed your presentation. And now we go to Sonia Garcia, and I'm going to present her. I just closed this one here. I just have to close what I've got in front of me and open a presentation from Sonia. One moment, please. And I'm going to change the slides for her. So we come through here, and this one, and just drag it slightly this way. Sorry for the delay. So Sonia, The floor is yours, please.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, first of all, and thank you for giving Fundación 11 the opportunity to share this project. Thank you, ENAT, Zero Project, and to all the colleagues who are listening and sharing. And thank you, Ivor, for helping me with the slides. Next, please. As I said, I'm Sonia García-Fraile, and I work in Fundación 11 in the Directorate of Accessibility and Innovation. First of all, just to present where I work. Fundación 11 was created in 1988 by agreement of the 11 General Council, and it was presented to society in September that same year, and as an instrument for cooperation and solidarity of Spanish blind individuals toward other groups of people with disabilities for the improvement of their living conditions. Fundación 11's main source of funding of each year comes from the 3% of gross incomes obtained from the marketing 11 games of chains. This figure represents €1 out of every 3 that 11 devotes to social services. The mission of 11 Foundation is to contribute for the full social inclusion of people with disabilities, helping to make effective the principle of equal opportunities and non-discrimination. With the promotion of full employment integration of people with disabilities, the promotion of professional qualification, labor competencies, and personal and professional skills, and the promotion of universal accessibility and design for all. The mission of my department, where I work, is to promote design for everyone and achieve the universal accessibility as an essential condition for equal opportunities for people with disabilities. Access to culture and leisure for people with disabilities may at first sight seem unimportant compared to things like accessing education or a decent job, but we must reject this idea. It's a right for all people, as the other colleagues said. The purpose of this presentation is showing the project, The Accessible Way of St. James. Thousands of people walk this way every year. And this project identified the need of doing it by people with disabilities in the most independent way. Most of the time, disability is associated with physical disability issues, perhaps with wheelchair users, but with this project, we want also to reach out to visually impaired and intellectually disabled pilgrims. Next, please, Ivor. The contents of the project website and the accessible application in it will provide the necessary resources for this. The website contains information to prepare the way, information on accessibility and accessible resources, as well as a section on accessible technologies, which contains support apps. Pilgrims could find information about the project and access information about the accessibility of the stage in this website. It also will have a private area where the community of pilgrims can add relevant information. And the information we can find in the site is information on alerts and interest points in the stages, a repository of accessible resources of the Way of St. James, apps, guides, etc. And about accessible technologies, there are 3 apps in the website. The first one is the IGN app. It will be used to prepare the trip, and it's developed by the Spanish Geographic Informational National Center. The Blind Explorer app, it's a guidance system for rural areas. It's developed by Gecko. And Soundscape app, it's a guidance system for urban environments, and it's developed by Microsoft. Next, please, Ivor. As we said, there are 3 apps. The first is the IGN app. It's already existed, but it wasn't accessible. So we worked together with the Spanish Geographic Informational National Center to develop a new accessible version of the app. This app allows the realization of the stages of the different pilgrims' road to Santiago using the IGN mapping. It also includes cultural and practical information of the stages, as well as a complete pilgrim's guide that details what the pilgrims should know before starting to do any of the routes. Next, please. Blind Explorer app is a personal navigation app that helps you to explore and discover nature trails and environments. It allows the pilgrims to select the route they want to take and helps them navigate it, using 3D sounds to guide them in the direction they want to go. It has been developed following universal design principles, so visually impaired people can take advantage of the high precision of the recorded routes and the sensory guidance offered the app to navigate these environments. Blind Explorer will be used to guide pilgrims with high precision, even in those areas without signal in the countryside. There is a video demo of the app. It is too long, so you can take it from the PPT, and I advise you that it's in Spanish. Next, please. Finally, Soundscape is also a location app. It provides information about the environment with synthesized voice. The binaural sound also creates a 3D effect. iPhone monitors movement using location and activity sensors, tells the pilgrims the direction to move to a waypoint. Next, please. To test the apps, we have worked with final users, blind and visually impaired people, people with cognitive disability, deafblind people, deaf people, and people with physical disabilities. So we were able to solve the problems and taking into account the comments and recommendations. Next, please. Going not alone, it's much better. As you can see in the slide, to be successful, we have worked and we still work in cooperation with many entities. The project was financed by the Fundación 11's own funds and by funds from some of the entities participating in the project. These subsidies were both in money and in kind. Next, please. And just to finish this presentation, I'd like to add that this project is replicable for any rural environment, making it more accessible for people with disabilities. The apps exist, so you have to add content with any routes. We can't change the path by eliminating the barriers, the stones, the ravines, but we can offer alternative routes so that everyone can enjoy it. We are sure that thanks for this project, pilgrims' journeys will be different, much more enjoyable and rewarding, because they will be more independent. Thank you so much for your attention.
Okay, thank you very much, Sonia. That was a brilliant presentation too. I think what really comes across to me is that you were a massive organization, that organization that went into doing this with so many different partners, but with a common goal. I think this is an exemplary project using new technologies as well to make the Way of St. James, the Santiago de Compostela pathway for pilgrims accessible. So thank you very much for that. I think it's very inspiring. I should also say to everyone listening and watching that you will get these PowerPoints or the presentations in PDF form from the ENAT website, and I'll show you the link at the end. It's in the ENAT accessibletourism.org events section where this event is listed, and you will be able to download the PDFs afterwards. So you also have the opportunity to put questions and answers in the Q&A section on Zoom here. So I'm stopping sharing now, and I'll invite our next speaker, who is also from Spain, from the PREDIF organization. This is Miguel Carrasco. Miguel, please, if you can share your slides. And Miguel, as I said before, is also a board member of ENAT, as is Fundación 11. Thank you.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you, ENAT and Zero Project, to bring the opportunity to talk about our projects in PREDIF. In this case, we will talk about Tour for All platform, the accessibility information scheme. To introduce, I want to talk about what is the accessible tourism for us. Looking for the accessible tourism concept, for us is a concept linked to the elimination of barriers that allow all people to enjoy an activity under equal conditions. Enjoyment characterizes by being autonomous, so that no person will need any assistance. It does not only entail the elimination of barriers of any kind, physical, sensory, cognitive, but also aims at ensuring that tourism environments and services are enjoyed on equal terms by all the people, avoiding the creation of a space exclusively for people with disabilities. Tourism for All has a dissemination that reaches more people than those who have disability. The benefits of universal accessibility is very beautiful because the design for all includes all people, also elderly, children, and families. Then we will talk about customer needs and customer expectations. What do the travelers with needs of accessibility expect when go to any destination? They are looking for their understanding of accessibility from a global point of view, meeting diversity requirements, evolution of accessibility as part of the standard service, and has not any extra cost. Having all the information you need to plan the trip in advance and travel without any obstacles. And the most important, to be able to be autonomous at all the stages of the journey. And what is the main demands of a customer with accessibility needs for an optimal travel experience? Two more important is the communication support services and personalized information about accessibility. This is why in PREDIF we create Tour for All. And what is Tour for All? Tour for All is a multilingual in 11 languages international platform to provide and disseminate information about accessible tourist resources. Already we are implemented in Spain and Portugal with our partner Accessible Portugal, Germany, India, and growing internationally bit by bit. It's an accessible platform, and the relevant information is also available in easy to read format. Our form to disseminate. In our social networks, and more than 200,000 visitors visit our platform every year. And we inform about the Twitter, our Facebook, our any social media, we inform about the information, and with our newsletter is read by more than 1.5 million people. And in this newsletter, we bring information about accessible tourism in Spain and all of the countries that we work with Tour for All. We have a special social impact for the users. Empower the tourists with accessible needs to enable them to become prescribers of accessible tourist resources and destinations. For the private companies, it's important to keep in mind that we help the private companies to reach a greater number of clients with suitable information, improve the quality of the facilities and services, and customer care for clients with accessibility needs, promote the private companies as being socially responsible. Of course, we reduce the effects of sustainability, and we can obtain the Tour for All label if any people or any PREDIF expert can provide this information about the resources. For the destination and public administration, Tour for All makes it easy to create accessible experience for all. The destination stands out from other destination is acknowledged, and accessibility is a competitive edge. Tour for All acts as a communication and marketing channel for its accessible tourism resources and provides indicators for planet accessibility management. Our edge is important because Tour for All is a social project started in 2012 in the very heart of PREDIF, the Spanish representative platform for people with disabilities. The people we represent express a need for objectives and relevant information about the accessibility of tourist resources. And this is why we create in the accessible, universal accessible, and all the accessibility criteria used in Tour for All enjoy the consensus of all the national social entities that represent people with disabilities in Spain. They provide for the accessibility needs of individuals with physical, visual, hearing, cognitive disabilities, in addition to food intolerance and allergies, among others. This is all the information that appear in our Tour for All platform, and tourist sector professionals were also directly involved in these processes. We are working in future actions because we started in 2012, and we are starting to work to come near to the user, to the final user. And we design and implement a digital marketing strategy that promotes the use of Tour for All across the society in Spain, Portugal, and other countries. Our new reserve button in the platform to book directly from Tour for All with the resources verified by experts. Design and communication and marketing strategy for the Tour for All level, and to close the internationalization of Tour for All platform. In the future actions, the new reserve button is starting today and I want to share with you the video of the button. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm Miguel Carrasco, the Technical Director of Accessible Tourism PREDIF. Thank you, ENAT and Zero Project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miguel. Excellent. And I'm sure a lot of people have seen for the first time what PREDIF is doing and all your partners with Tour for All. It's a marvelous concept. It's fully accessible and fully rolled out now in Spain, and as we will hear in a moment, in Portugal too. It's being used, and in so many other countries. A couple there that I didn't know about. So it's really good to know that things are moving, that you have become, let's say, a big integrator of many of the requirements that are needed, and really showing how digitalization of accessibility is making a huge difference to customers' lives. And we would like to know actually how it makes a difference to businesses in the future. So I hope you're evaluating that part of the project as well. So we'll hear now, we must press on actually in the Zero project timetable. They put us down for 1 hour, finishing at 11 o'clock, but we're going on for another half an hour. So I hope everyone in the participants can stay with us. And we're going to hear from Ana Garcia now, from Portugal, I'm sorry, from Accessible Portugal, also a board member of ENAT, with a lot of experience in developing accessibility in tourism. And she'll talk to us about one of her major projects in central Portugal. Thank you, Ana.
Hello, everybody. I'm very happy to be here. I would like to share a project that we are working on with our partners, PREDIF. I don't know if it's okay. No? Yes? Okay. Well, we use and we utilize the platform Tour for All to implement a project that we carry on the center of Portugal. Well, we want to promote accessible tourism and also the social inclusion. This project that we utilize the methodology of Tour for All has 39 months of intervention. It's very good because we have time to implement our ideas and solutions that we proposed. We started in January 2019 and we will end next month. So I don't know if you have an idea about Portugal, but it's a very big sub-region. And we have 90 municipalities associated with this project and 7 intercity communities. It's a way to manage the territory here in Portugal. And we have the very strong support of the regional authority for tourism, Turismo Centro de Portugal. Well, we based this Access Tour project in 2 other projects before, Brandate, where ENAT were with us, and with the methodology of Tour for All. We started with a lot of activities, if you want, to go ahead with the project, and we had a target with 400 audits in the region, but we now are in 462. We had the identification and promotion of 5 tourist accessible itineraries, and we develop another application, IT Tour, that join and works with Tour for All. We have a very strong activity on training and awareness. with a tourist offer with 135 participants, and something that sometimes is forgotten, the raising awarenesses in schools for children, small children. And we prepare a technical education pack, and we distribute 90 of these packs. And also we had an online training module with 2020 participants. If you join the training of 135 and these 220 participants, it's a lot of people that will be ambassadors of this message of accessible tourism. We have a lot of motivational and networking meetings with 327 participants. Also, it's to put a seed to going on with these matters. We build a club of suppliers with 95 participants, because we propose some solutions, but we have to understand that we have to qualify some suppliers to go ahead with the solutions and to sell those solutions. So we want to shake the market. We prepared 90 multi-format kits with personalized tourism promotion material, with sign language, plain writing, braille, reliefs, audio description. We prepare a promotional video, of course, to promote accessible tourism destination. 8 guides for the promotion of accessible tourism in Central region, with the audits of accessible tourism by Tour for All, 3 FAM trips, and applying the theory of change, the results and impact assessment. Well, to be a little more clear, we made in this project 462 audits, but we have already 2,054 audits. In the total in this region, we have nowadays 76 audits done, and information about several stakeholders in tourism. This is the education packs. Well, we want to raise awareness about the diversity, disability, and inclusion among the youngest. And we prepare a board game and a web app with the gaming. About the board game, well, it's easy to play. We are adults and we play the game and we have a lot of fun. So it was a very good idea for us, because we were very happy to use it. The web, it's because the children like to use it, and we think it was a good idea to spread this information and to put children being guardians of inclusion. We prepare a kit of multi-format information kits with the brochure in plain writing in large print, the same information in braille with bidimensional reliefs images, the same information on Portuguese Sign Language, filmed and available via QR code, 4H board with images and short text in large print, bidimensional images and braille, an audio description recorded in an MP3 with a visual image of a film or a painting, a guide to tactile reading, because it's very important. People don't know exactly that blind people don't understand sometimes tactile information. Just a very quick slideshow. If you want to see in our website, you will find all this information without the braille, of course, but you will have a lot of information that you can explore. That's the brochure in plain writing and large print. This is the reliefs and braille, the sign language. This is the board where we explain that it's different to show an image in a relief for a blind person, or to a normal vision person, as you see. The audio description is recorded in our website and recorded in an MP3 that it is in the kit. And a guide to tactile reading, because the interpretation of tactile images is not obvious to most blind people and depends on the previous training in tactile reading. The assistant of the person explaining the images is usually required. Well, a fact sheet with the information, the pictograms, the pictograph writing is also important, and we have in several languages. And our online training inclusive service with 6 modules. And here again, for the final work, we use Tour for All, because we put training people to insert by themselves the information of a tourist resource that they can choose. We prepare a model for senior clients with limitations due to the aging process that adds all those limitations. We have ebooks and videos with people that are our big team, our wonder team, and also 7 ebooks that we prepared with a lot of color, with a lot of jokes, if you want, and very gorgeous. It's not heavy. It's nice, and everybody likes it very much. And as I told, 220 persons have this training. Now, something very, very important is that Access Tour was the mother and the father of 2 other projects that we have in the field in Algarve. All the region Algarve is now having also the same project until December, and Alentejo Central. It's a small region of the Alentejo region that we are now also applying, and things are going very, very well. The acceptance of this project is very, very, very good. We, last but not least, Access Tour was awarded and received the National Tourism Award 21 in the inclusive tourism category. It's very, very important for us, not for the fashion of the situation, but it's very important that this category of tourism is also in the way to be recognized. So it's very important for us. And we will want to expand this or to a region, or to prepare an Iberia project with PREDIF, and who knows, with Italia, perhaps. Marco, hello. We will think about it, because we have, in fact, a very nice methodology that is recognized. And I hope that it can give us good news for the future. Well, I am also at your disposal if you want to make any question.
Thanks, Anna. So nobody can come and say now, where do we start? What do we need to do? We've got a very clear picture from Portugal, and we've had it for a number of years actually, on how to approach accessible and inclusive tourism. So thank you very much for that excellent presentation and the opportunity to show this to the world, and also for your presentation, which we'll be putting on the ENAT website so people have access to it. Well, a very well-deserved honor as well from Portugal for Inclusive Tourism Award. Thank you very much. And now we come to the last speaker, and then we'll have a little time for some questions and answers. And please use the question and answer button on Zoom if you want to ask any questions of the presenters in written format. So we come now to Selvakumar, who is Ramachandran, who is the CEO. He's a doctor in technology, in engineering, computer engineering, And he's leading the way towards virtual reality tourism and showing how this can also be of benefit to people with disabilities. So thank you, Selvakumar, if you can share your presentation with us.
Thank you, Ivor, sir. Can you see my screen?
Okay. Yes, thank you. And full screen if you can do it. Yeah. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks a lot, ENAT and Zero Project, for this opportunity. I am Dr. Selvakumar Ramachandran, one of the co-founders of Kerckhoffs Limited. We are based in Sunderland, northeast part of England. We are currently developing a product, virtual reality-based product, Eyemmersive, which is focusing on creating a VR virtual reality-based inclusive system for tourism economy. Essentially, it is a Uber-like platform, Uber-like economy, connecting virtual reality-based 360-degree video content at the destination by tourist guides and tourism operators, making it available to people who can't travel to the destination or who want to plan before traveling to those destinations. So our key objectives are like enabling inclusive tourism, making tourism experience available for everyone, leveraging on next generation technologies, and also enhancing inclusion at destination. For example, if you take live museum in Beamish, which spreads across acres, people with disabilities or mobility issues, they can access only certain part of the place given the time restriction. So if they can't climb up, or if they can't move their wheelchair up, they can come to reception and watch the videos of missing places. And also crucially, it enables additional revenue stream for professional tourist guides and tourism operators, whereas they would be our virtual reality 360-degree content providers. For example, if I want to travel to Rome, for example, someone lives in India and wants to travel to Switzerland, he has got mobility issues and a wheelchair user, and also he doesn't have financial means to travel to Switzerland. So he would enroll on our Eyemmersive application, which would be available on smartphone-based system, web app, and virtual reality-based devices such as Oculus Quest and HTC Vive. He would identify with our due diligence tourist guides in Switzerland. The selected tourist guides would create bespoke, tailored content for the person who commissioned the video, and the person would enjoy immersive experience from Switzerland. It would enable him to understand accessibility facilities at the destination. He would gain more confidence to visit the place. Perhaps he would plan for real traveling when he finds some financial means. So there is an opportunity for this immersive, not only for people who want to have alternative mode of travel, but also for tourism businesses. It can be a catalyzing tool for tourism businesses. They can showcase their services about their destination on our market, on our platform, and also it enables an alternative revenue stream for tourist guides, who can get training from our partner organizations such as ENAT to gain how to gain more training on virtual reality based content creation, and also how to live stream those videos from their destination. So essentially, our app will be available on standalone VR headsets, smartphone-based VR applications. So the person would download the content, the application. You can download it for free. They can access some stock videos. If he wants to visit Athens or Paris or Barcelona, he would order a 360-degree video like Uber taxi stuff. There will be list of due diligence tourist guides. they can pick up the order and create the content. We would support video processing and adding additional element, make it available to the person, and we would get some commission out of it, and most of the money would go directly to the tourism operators or tourist guides. We are well supported by team with experience in XR, tourism, and academic research. And you would see ENAT's managing director, Ivor Ambrose. ENAT has been supporting us not only with the information, but also establishing our partnership with the different tourism stakeholders in Europe and across the world. So recently we have launched our web interface where you can find our experimental videos created in Ukraine, Sofia Cathedral, and Chernobyl exclusion zone, including the reactor, the accident reactor. And we have shot some Greece, Thessaloniki videos thanks to our partnership with ENAT. So, and also our application is our beta version is available on Android, and soon we will be launching our iOS version. We got a memorandum of understanding with Pico, a standalone VR headset makers, and local DMOs and University of Sunderland. We are a full member of European Network for Accessible Tourism. So if you are a tourist guide or tourism operators who want to showcase your services, accessibility services on our platform, please feel free to contact us through ENAT, and we are looking for partnerships in Europe and across the world. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Selva. It was great to hear your presentation there and to get just a brief taste of what this new technology is offering and how your platform can be a catalyst for this kind of technology-enabled tourism. And I think I'll just share one little thing with the audience that we've been involved in this with tourist guides. And one of the first reactions from some tourist guides was, oh, just a minute though, that's going to put us out of business because people will stay at home and they'll watch, they'll look at the Acropolis at home and they won't come to visit and they won't have a guiding experience. But in actual fact, I think this is really opening up tourism in a new dimension and giving the opportunity for people to experience something virtually and then follow up with a visit if they can. So I think the tourist guides that we worked with found this a very strong realization. And also it actually put some money into their pockets while they were out of work because of the lack of tourists during COVID, that they could go out and make 360 video recordings for the platform. So I think we've come to the end of our formal presentations, and we've still got a few minutes left on our timetable until 1/2 the hour. I don't see any questions and answers here. We've had a little conversation between Marco and another one of the audience. If anybody would like to come with a question, please put your questions in the Q&A box on Zoom. Or maybe I could invite any of, in the meantime, I'll invite any of the panelists to come with some thoughts. Oh, I see somebody has a hand up. Is that you?
That's me, yeah.
Yes,
so,
okay.
I have a question to Accessible Tromsø. So what would be the cost for 2-day or 3-day trips to visit Tromsø? This is not only for like company perspective, but I myself a wheelchair user. So if I ever plan to visit Tromsø again, I want to experience through Accessible Tromsø.
Thank you for your question, Selva. I mean, it's a hard question to answer because there's about 20 very obvious activities to do, and in 2 days you would have to choose from all of those and see what the budget is. I do have to say I would imagine I mean, hotels, this is Tromsø, northern Norway, Arctic, everything is expensive. Let's start with that. By starting by the plane, that you definitely need at least 2 planes from most places in Europe, because there are almost no direct flights. But you would have hotel activities and food, I would say about 500 euros or 400 euros for 2 days. I may be being very optimistic. And it would depend on what you want to do. I'll say the cheapest activity you can do, organized tour activity, costs 100 euros. And that's the cheapest. And everything goes up from there. It's the advantages of living here. Salaries are very good. The disadvantage of visiting is that you have to help us pay for those salaries. So that's how it works.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Very direct question there. And if there are no other comments, and I'd like to come back to Anna from Portugal again, because I think what you presented there was almost a kaleidoscope of activities. I mean, so many things that you put into this project. I know you've had an enormous background in accessible tourism, but I always like to ask ultimately, are the businesses showing the benefits from all these activities? It's great to get an award, and it's great to have all the visibility that comes with it. But what are the businesses saying to you? And can we hear from the businesses? Can you also present something from the businesses in the future dissemination of these projects? I think it's very important that the business case comes through.
Well, we have several opinions. But nowadays we have a very large perspective, for example, and it is also the market, we involve those who make the itineraries of IT Tour. It is an enterprise that sells the I don't know how to say it in English. They sell tours in the nature. So we pay them by the project to make this, to collect this information, to put it and insert it in IT Tour. And then they have a project to sell, and they have products to sell. And they are selling those information that they collect immediately. Concerning hotels and restaurants, you know, it's a very difficult time, because we had COVID, and to prepare the guides of this 676 information and resources that were audited by Tour for All scheme, we had the sad information that a lot of them nowadays are closed. So perhaps they will be open in the summer, but it's difficult to have this information right now, because we are in a strange situation, and we are entering in another more strange situation with the war. So things are very difficult to understand. But we have the club of suppliers also that are working with us, are paid by us to produce this output, but they are also having a lot of work also, because museums, urban spaces are asking them to work, to produce braille, to produce reliefs, and a lot of this kind of output. For example, also some museums understand that it was not so difficult to have sign language, at least for a basic information.
Can I ask you a question, just a question that came in from Chris Beach that I hadn't spotted. He's asking, when you're engaging the businesses, what are the specific messages that they respond to? How do you initially just get them on board? How do they start to consider accessibility, he's asking?
You have different approaches. You have one, it's legal. So it's an obligation and they want to accomplish. It's not a bad approach. It's okay. They want to accomplish law. But in Portugal, we have something that is not very good. That is the paternalist approach. Oh, poor disabled people, they deserve that. We are going to work on this. It's our behavior. So we are not putting that out. We are using also this approach. Why not? And things works. And I think that nowadays in Portugal we have a lot of a big framework concerning the mandatory approach of accessibility, because we want to work in inclusion, and you cannot have inclusion if you don't have accessibility. And
I have to stop you there. We've run out of time. It's 1/2 the hour. I'm just putting up a slide that people can see now for the presentations tomorrow of the awardees of Zero Project. It's been great to hear from you all, and thank you very much for your excellent presentations. Thank you to the audience. I think we've all had a very enriching experience today, and I hope that many more people will consider joining ENAT and joining this great group of facilitators who are teaching, sharing, developing, and innovating to make accessible tourism a reality everywhere. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.